Libra, it's great that you've been able to join me again here. For those of you that are new, welcome. I'm Dadhichi from astrology.com.au with your October 2015 horoscope overview. It's a brief look at what's going on in the heavens for you. I've got your horoscope here. That secret of secrets that the astrologer is supposed to decipher. And if you were tuning in to the introduction, I hope you were, the theme now and for the next few months is self-empowerment, and I want to talk about that. You must be feeling reasonably self-empowered with your ruling planet Venus in the 11th house in Leo just now. It's coming to the tail end of that, but the other significant transit we've just seen is that of Saturn, which has moved out of your finance sector. You must be very pleased. I would be if I were you. Because this Saturn is the constrictive one. It is the planet of karma. It shows where you are going to be most tested, most aggrieved. And the fact that it has moved away from at least this specific area, it never leaves the horoscope at all, of course. It just simply shifts its focus and its constraints to different parts of your horoscope. But the fact that it has moved away from this second house should be a huge relief for you. It should be a weight lifted from your shoulders now. And we see there with Mars and Jupiter in your 12th house, the fact that you are at least quietly planning some amazing new things. I like that. Venus in the 11th house, that ruler there of yours, connecting in its social circles and its ability to network now, can show us the opportunities that are opening up at this point in time. Not immediately. We do see up until the 9th or 10th, 9th I think, let me just verify that, the 10th to be precise, that Mercury, your communications planet, but specifically for you, the planet ruling those secret spiritual activities, has been in apparent reverse motion. And that tells us that you've been going through a period of self-reflection with that Mars and Jupiter in the 12th house. It can be a spiritual sort of inquiry into yourself. It can also be, because spirituality can be this too, it can be a shedding of all of those things that are unnecessary. And to my way of thinking, that's probably one of the easiest ways to really step up to that whole self-empowerment model. Because sometimes we don't know how to empower ourselves, but simply through the removal of those things that obstruct us, we immediately and naturally feel empowered. So I think that's sort of what's happening for you during this period of October and beyond. Mind you, that Saturn has now moved into this third house. So that's going to challenge such things as your style of communication, the people that you live with, especially in your neighborhood. If you've got younger siblings, that can be a problem. The third house also has to do with your thinking. Now, in a way, because your sun sign of Libra is sometimes a little bit topsy-turvy and indecisive in the way that it draws its conclusions, Saturn here may actually work quite well. So constricting the manner in which you think will reduce that sort of indecisiveness, if I could call it that. So this makes you far more disciplined in the way you think, far more disciplined in the way you approach your negotiations. So your negotiation skills are going to start to improve through this period, absolutely, without a doubt. And we see that the triangular aspect to the South Node in the 7th house, lovely, that shows us you are drawing on the past lessons in a positive sort of way. A lot of people know what they've done wrong, but they stubbornly adhere to their egos. Not so with you. This trine aspect from the South Node to this transiting Saturn is wonderful and shows that the constraints that are upon you now are actually going to help you. And this is where we can see sometimes the hard planets can actually be a blessing in disguise. Am I rambling too much? I don't want to be too chronological with all this. I think I'm trying to change the style here, as I've said to some of the viewers over the past few months. I want this to be thematic. I want this to be, and the theme right now, of course, is self-empowerment. I don't want it to be date-based. I want it to be results-based. I want you to understand how these planets work and how you can step up to assist them in their work with you. The Sun is ruling your 11th house. Now, this planet, speaking of enhancing your finances and yourself, moves to the 2nd house, the sign of Scorpio, on the 23rd. Just prior to that, however, the new moon that takes place in your sun sign in Libra on the 13th precedes that and really gives you a lift and optimism in terms of your new thinking and your new planning and what you have in mind for yourself. So that desire is there, and what I said in the introduction is that we don't actually have free will, but there are moments where what we choose to do is enhanced by the planetary influences. We see that happening now, and this new moon will help that, and the transit of the Sun to the 2nd house, although some astrologers have a different opinion of that, show us that 11th ruler in the 2nd, the planet that rules your gains and fulfillment, moving to the finance sector can increase your income during this next 1 month period, starting 23rd, 24th October. Just after that, we see the full moon, which will just be very, very powerful there in the 8th house. Again, 8th house is a shared resource sector. It's having to do with finances. But this can clear up a lot of stuff and make you feel a lot more grounded because it's the sign of Taurus. So anything associated with banks, bank managers, shared resources, and coming to an understanding with those people that you partnered up with in terms of your money is all systems go and very positive and fortuitous for you. There's a conjunction of Venus in the 12th house with Mars and then with Jupiter throughout the latter part of the month. Venus will, firstly on the 11th of October, have a bit of a problem. It's moving to the square of Saturn. So those positive things I said will have a little bit of a glitch there. That's on the 11th. But then Venus does make another hard aspect on the 17th, the opposition to Neptune. These are confusing times for you. So that 1 week period is not fantastic, but when Mars conjoins Jupiter on the 18th and then on the 23rd, let's have a look here, on the 26th, which is just after the Sun moves, then I think we're going to see you get things back on track, and those financial opportunities will most certainly open up for you. Bear in mind the proper process of self-empowerment should not be reliant on you getting all this money. That's important because that empowers you materially. But what we're talking about here is the empowerment of self. Pluto's in the 4th house. It's going to be there for years, so you need to work with that. But bring it all back to this self-awareness and an understanding of what it is that motivates you. Look at your thinking. Look at your style of communicating. The more you look at that with an impartial eye, mind you, not with a judgmental eye, you have to be passively aware. That process itself is what's going to empower you. So I'll leave you with that this month, and I do hope you'll join me next month again for more. The website astrology.com.au, which I'm the founder and director of, has a lot more available to you, a lot of resources there that are free that can help enhance what I've just said to you today, which is just a brief overview of what's happening for you in the next month. And it's been great having your company, and I hope to have it again next month here. Take care. Bye-bye.